those ClassPass motherfuckers took my members.
Yeah.
I've got no skin in this, right? I don't know, but I am the Tracy Grimshaw here. If I'm a studio and I jump on, it's part of the terms that when you're running one of your free trial promotions, you're able to use my studio as part of that.
Yes.
You know what we think.
I know you hate free.
Fuck free trials. Why are you offering free spots?
I mean, ultimately, the ClassPass value proposition is to revenue maximize.
For the studio?
Yes.
It feels like it's more incremental revenue rather than maximizing it. If they wanted to maximize the revenue, they should be just running shit hot deals. Who's your biggest modality on ClassPass? Typically, like the lion's share is Pilates.
Pilates. Oh, yeah.
It may as well just be Pilates Pass.
Pilates Pass.
When Anonymous asked, when are you going to pay gyms fairly? What's your response to that?
My response would be
our clients and my audience, what I'm hearing them scream at me right now is the ClassPass user comes to my studio 2 or 3 times a week. The members talk, and when they say, how much did you pay to get into this class? And they say, I'm on ClassPass, I just come 3 times a week and it cost me $20, whereas it might cost someone else $40. What's happened there?
ClassPass users typically go to 2 to 3 studios in a month. So they're not going with the same frequency as a direct user. And it's rare that a ClassPass user is going to convert into direct member.
I've got a message here from, it's a long email from one of our clients who uses ClassPass. Are you ready?
Ready.
Kinsey.
Doza.
Welcome to Join Them Unfiltered.
Thank you.
Now, do you want to just quickly introduce yourself?
I would love to. So my name's Kinsey Livingston. I'm the VP of Sales at Playlist, which is the parent company of Mindbody and ClassPass and Booker. And I'm based here in Sydney.
Right. So I asked my audience what they thought of ClassPass, and they knew that you were jumping on this week. What do you think they said?
You know, I think it's a love-hate relationship with a lot of our studio partners, unfortunately. We've got a lot of partners that we have incredible positive relationships with, and we've got a segment of partners that are not so happy with their relationship with ClassPass. So I can assume it was probably a little bit mixed.
Yeah, it was absolutely mixed. It was absolutely mixed. I'm going to read out some responses in a second, and then I'd love to get your response to the responses. But before we get to that, you mentioned that you've got a segment that love you guys and a segment that don't love you guys. If we go one side first, the ones that love you, what are they doing differently to the ones that don't love you?
Oh, great question. Okay, so the studios that are working well with ClassPass, first and foremost, I think they understand what the purpose of ClassPass is, and their expectations are met with the reality.
What is the purpose of ClassPass?
The purpose of ClassPass is it's really designed to be a tool to help studios fill their excess inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not a lead generation tool. It is an excess inventory liquidation tool. And I think one of the misconceptions and where we have a lot of missed expectations is that a lot of studios join ClassPass thinking, oh, okay, this is a great free way for me to generate new leads. I'm going to see all these ClassPass users coming in, and they're all going to convert to direct members because they're going to have a great experience with me. And that's really not the purpose of ClassPass, right? We have tools within the Mindbody ecosystem that are meant to drive direct utilization and drive your direct business. But ClassPass is not meant to be a lead generation tool for studios. And I think a lot of them hope and wish that it were.
And is that the ones that...
Those are the ones that I would say don't love it.
The other segment.
So the segment that loves ClassPass understands the purpose, right? They understand that they have to really focus on their direct utilization. ClassPass can be kind of the cherry on top. And they accept ClassPass for what it is, right? ClassPass is an audience of people who are a bit more price sensitive than typically your direct members. They are variety seeking. So they may want to go to a Pilates class today, a HIIT class tomorrow, cardio the next day, a massage the day after that, a sauna, recovery. And that's what ClassPass is great for, right? It's a great tool for people who are variety seeking and a little bit more price sensitive. It provides access to people who may not be able to pay full membership rates at a bunch of studios. And the studios that love ClassPass understand that. They sort of embrace those users. They treat them like very nice, right? Just like they're their own users. And they don't get frustrated that they're actually paying a lower rate. They understand that those ClassPass users are making a trade-off.
What's that trade-off?
So a direct member is going to get into the class that they want, the time that they want, the instructor that they want, right? They kind of have first dibs on your schedule
Yeah.
and the inventory that you're offering. ClassPass users, the trade-off is they're kind of last in line for what's available, right? So if I want to get into a 5:00 class at, Core Plus, I may not get into that class because it may already be booked with your direct members. There may already be a wait list for that class. In many cases there is. And a ClassPass user is not going to get access to that class at all times. Now, I might get access to a 10 a.m. class that's not very full. I might get access to a 7:30 p.m. class that may not be full. But because of that, I'm filling an excess spot that would have otherwise gone unfilled. And the thing about studios is, or appointment-based businesses, is those spots are perishable, right? So if the class happens and nobody fills that spot, you get $0 for that spot. But if ClassPass is able to fill one of those spots, even at a discount, that's revenue that the studio earned that they potentially wouldn't have earned otherwise.
Understand. And how does ClassPass determine how much they pay out to a studio?
Yeah, so we negotiate rates with our partners. We have terms of service. Typically, those rates start at 40% of their floor, a 40% floor rate of what their 10-pack might be or whatever membership they're offering.
Yeah.
And then, it's typically a 40 to 90% payout based on the demand in that class. So if that is one of the more popular class times, there's a lot of demand happening for that specific class. The rate should surge. If it's a completely empty class, let's say it's 30% full, which on average in the fitness industry, it's about 38% fill rate overall.
Right.
With direct utilization. So this is an industry that does.
So does that mean for the direct members? So if I run a Pilates studio, my members, my community only fill up 38% of the classes?
That is on average, yeah, across all of our genres on ClassPass.
Not one of our guys, eh?
No. Not the $1 million businesses though, right?
Thank you, Ron. So then when Anonymous asked, when are you going to pay gyms fairly? What's your response to that?
I think my response would be, we do pay gyms fairly. We negotiate this rate. Studios agree to the rate. I'm pretty sure that, if they're on ClassPass, they need that revenue, right? Because the spots are going unfilled. They can leave ClassPass at any time, right? They're not locked into their contract. They can leave. The truth is, like any other aggregator or an airline industry, right? Airline industry's surge rates when the demand is high and rates go down when they need to fill their spots on an airplane or a hotel. And ClassPass works in the same way. So really, an Airbnb, right?
Yeah.
Airbnb works in the same way. So you go
Uber? Does Uber work the same way? Like
Uber works
it surges if
it's raining.
Yeah.
If it's busy. And so really, we are paying studios fairly. They aren't paying anything to be on ClassPass. So if you think about it, if they are trying to get direct members coming in, they have to pay marketing fees for that, right? They have to spend on Google or Facebook or Instagram or social. On ClassPass, they don't pay anything. So the trade-off is I don't pay anything. I have exposure and visibility to millions of people, thousands of people on ClassPass. And in exchange for that, I do have to offer a lower rate to fill this excess capacity. But the best studios are going to see higher rates on ClassPass, right? If they have higher direct utilization, their rates are going to go up. So an interesting stat is that of our studios on ClassPass, if they're 80% direct utilization, then you see 45% higher payout rates than studios who have around 50% direct utilization.
Hang on. Can you explain that? Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's going to be a really important for the audience.
Okay. So Pilates studio.
Yeah.
On average, let's say they're filling their class 80% direct utilization.
On their own. So that's just so their members themselves are 80% filling up all the classes.
Yep.
Yeah.
About 20% excess spots.
Yeah. And that might be the 12:30, it might be 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, might be a Sunday, 4 p.m.
Exactly. They put that excess inventory on ClassPass.
Yeah.
Those spots are more likely to surge because that class is filling. Compared to a class who's at 50% direct utilization, right? That class is only half full. we're not able to charge the same amount of credits for a class that's only 50% full.
Right.
So those credits are typically
Oh.
around 45% lower
Okay.
than a class that's full.
Mm.
And that's why we say, look, ClassPass, it's not here to drive all of your income and be a direct business generator for you. Sometimes that happens.
One of our clients mentioned that, and this is unfiltered, so this is raw. I don't think anyone's listening. Like the real truth was, like she said, I hate ClassPass, but we make $16,000 a month from ClassPass, so we can't turn it off. So there's the sort of, like, that is a bit of a, I guess the word is kind of like, it's an awkward position for a business owner to go, oh God, that her belief is her belief is ClassPass is devaluing the Pilates and yoga industry. But at the same time, she's making good money from it. Where do you sit with that?
Yeah, it's so interesting because you might ask another studio that's making $16,000 a month the same question, and they might say, it's great.
Yeah.
I was able to open a second location. I was able to expand my studio space
Yeah.
with this additional revenue I was receiving. And I understand that I probably wouldn't have received that revenue otherwise.
Yeah.
And so you ask yourself, what if ClassPass didn't exist?
What if ClassPass didn't exist?
What if ClassPass didn't exist? Would studios be able to fill their classes to 100% capacity with their casual rates, with their monthly memberships, with their weekly memberships? I don't know, but before ClassPass, they weren't doing that. And we did a lot of market research before we launch in new countries. We understand the direct utilization of studios before we launch in new countries. And Australia was similar to everywhere else, which was fitness studios were not filling their classes. And the average was still around 35 to 40% direct utilization if you look at all class times.
Yeah.
And so without ClassPass, I think studios would be having a really hard time getting that additional revenue. Now, I don't think there's a limit to how many users are out there who are willing to pay direct membership fees, right? There's always going to be people who are not price sensitive, who are loyalists, who want to go to that studio, 5 times a week. ClassPass users are just not the same.
Right.
They might go to on average, they go to the same studio 2 to 3 times a month, not necessarily 2 to 3 times per week.
So is that a key stat? So like a ClassPass user, like how would you define like a typical profile of a ClassPass user in terms of their attendance and how they use your platform?
Yes, great question. So a ClassPass user typically in their first 3 months on ClassPass, we consider that their, tested out period.
Yeah.
They're typically going to a whole bunch of different studios in their first 3 months on the platform. But after that 3 months, they habituate. And they choose, of the places that they went in their first 3 months, what are my top 3 to 4 favorite studios or favorite venues? Maybe they're not studios. It could be, like I said, a recovery center,
Pilates,
salon,
massage.
Yes. And those are the 2 to 3 places they end up spending the majority of their credits in their monthly billing cycles after that. So they end up habituating, but they only really choose 3 to 4 places.
So if I'm channeling our clients and my audience, what I'm hearing them scream at me right now is, yeah, but what happens is a ClassPass user comes to my studio 2 or 3 times a week, and then the members talk, and when they say, how much did you pay to get into this class? And they say, I'm on ClassPass, I just come 3 times a week and it cost me $20, whereas it might cost someone else $40. What's happened there? What are they just not a typical user that slipped through the cracks, or is that an opportunity for that studio owner to figure out how to convert that client if they've been 2 or 3 times a week into an actual member?
Yeah. Sorry, let me clarify. ClassPass users typically go to 2 to 3 studios in a month. And so that means of those 2 to 3 studios, they're usually going 2 to 3 times per month to each studio.
Yep.
So they're not going with the same frequency as a direct user who probably goes 2 to 3 times per week.
But they could.
But they could, yes. They absolutely could. And some probably do. I think, probably less than 5% go with that type of frequency. But for the most part, they're going to a couple places and they're going with less frequency than a direct member. Now, if they were going
2-3
with
times
that,
a week.
yeah, then they often end up converting. That is rare for a ClassPass member.
Which part is rare? That they convert to a membership or that they go 2 to 3 times a week to that same studio?
Both.
Interesting.
It's rare that they go with that type of frequency. And it's rare that a ClassPass user is going to convert into direct member. Now, I think a lot of studios join ClassPass going, oh, I'm going to get in front of so many people. This is going to be a great lead gen tool. This is going to be great for my exposure, which it is. It's great for your visibility. It's great for your exposure because there are tons of people on ClassPass. However, it doesn't mean that they're going to come to you and then convert to direct. Some will, but most won't. And so that's why I say the best studios who really love ClassPass have just accepted that this is the demographic. This is the profile of a ClassPass member. It's unlikely, I can try to convert them with all my might. Can really, really try. And you might coach some of your customers to try to do that and they might do so successfully. But the majority of users won't. Now, I've been using ClassPass for a really long time. Have I converted? Yes.
Oh, you have? So what?
Absolutely.
Why did you convert from ClassPass to a direct membership at a studio?
I do both.
You do both?
And a lot of people do that. So about 30% of our ClassPass members also pay for some membership, whether it's a big box gym membership or they do some other type of workout. It could be running outside or it could be spending money on a Pilates studio. And the reason why is that they want typically that first dibs access to the inventory, right? They're like, I love this studio so much. I want to go
at the 6 a.m.
At the 6 a.m. And I'm tired of not ever being able to get into that class via ClassPass. So I'm willing to pay for a membership. Now I have my favorite studio that I go to all the time. And then I have my ClassPass membership where I, habituate at a few others. And I think Chloe could say the same. I know she has a direct membership somewhere. She also uses ClassPass. A lot of people do that. And when we survey our ClassPass members, we say, is ClassPass your only method of exercise, your only method of wellness? And, a lot of people say, no, I supplement this with an additional membership or an additional style of working out.
So do you have a clue there for studio owners listening that are thinking, okay, maybe I need to adjust my strategy here with ClassPass? What should they be doing instead? What are the most common mistakes that they're making in terms of their approach to ClassPass right now? And what should they be doing instead?
Yeah, I think I would spend any energy that studios are using trying to convert ClassPass members into direct members and focus it on just trying to acquire direct users separate from the ClassPass audience, right? They should be focused on direct utilization, growing their direct member base. It is a different demographic. It's a different type of user. We have even surveyed Mindbody customers or Mindbody users who are on the Mindbody app looking for studios if they would be interested in doing a variety seeking ClassPass option. They don't want that.
Why not?
People who are on Mindbody want to buy a direct membership and they want first dibs access to those classes. So people who are searching in the Mindbody app, it's a different user. And so that would be my advice to studios is accept the ClassPass members for what they are. Hey, if you're able to convert a few, good for you, but I wouldn't focus your time and energy into doing that. Usually in order to be able to convert a ClassPass member, studios have to give them a discount anyway.
Why?
Because they're more price sensitive. They're more price sensitive and they're willing to make the trade-offs to go to class times that they may not be able to get into otherwise. So I think that's where a lot of the frustration stems from, is you're sort of working against the model. And, I've done webinars with some of our ClassPass partners who are obviously, they love ClassPass and they've used us for years. And again, they have these amazing success stories and growth stories of being able to really expand their business. They attribute it to the additional income that they receive on ClassPass. But they have learned and they've said look, at the beginning, I thought this was a lead gen tool and I treated it as such. It was so frustrating. Once I said, okay, I understand these people aren't going to convert, I just took the revenue. It's like, great, this is like incremental cherry on top. That's what it's meant to be. The most successful, strong, direct businesses, those are the businesses that are going to see the best success on ClassPass because they have strong businesses to begin with. They have great reputations to begin with, and they're not relying on ClassPass to drive their business. It's just extra revenue to fill these excess spots that are really challenging to fill, right? It is really hard to fill 100% of your spots 100% of the day. And, and if you are a studio who is able to do that, ClassPass isn't for you. Because even if you did integrate with ClassPass in your booking system, ClassPass would never be able to open up spots.
Because you limit which spots.
Yeah, because we read your direct fill, whatever integration, whatever software you use, we read that and we only open up what's available on ClassPass. And so if a studio is at 100% capacity, they're never going to have spots available on ClassPass.
And so my members will be able to fill that spot first before a ClassPass user?
Correct. Yes.
How much does it cost to be on ClassPass as someone on the streets?
There's different tiers. So you might pay, $19 a month, $39 a month, $79 a month, depending on how many credits you want.
And what does a credit equal?
A credit equals somewhere.
This is a question that people had is like, how do you work out the credit system?
Yeah, the credit exchange rate is fluctuating all the time. So people try to do the math. You can never really do the math into what the credits are. They're fluctuating based on supply and demand.
At that particular studio?
No. In a country.
In a country on the platform.
Yeah.
So if it's September and it's spring and everyone's, let's get back into the studios, does it change the exchange?
No. A credit exchange rate isn't changing all that frequently. It's typically pretty steady, oftentimes for years. Like it won't change.
Yeah.
People do try to do the math and back into it, which is fine. In the US, people are always like, okay, $2 per credit. And maybe it's like $2.15 or $1.97 or something like that. But yeah, typically you can like kind of calculate on average what a credit value is. I don't even know what it is off the top of my head. But at the end of the day, the purpose of credits is to obfuscate the price of the class so that a ClassPass, we don't want ClassPass users being able to calculate how much it is to get into the class because that affects the studio's pricing power, which is why we use the credit system. If we just said, okay, this class is $8 and their direct pricing is $20, that would really impact their ability, their pricing power. So that's why we use the credit model. We don't want ClassPass users to be able to figure out exactly how much they're paying, right? And when credits surge from 8 credits to 12 credits, they're like, I don't know, is that $5 more? Is that $7 more? I don't really know. But how does it compare to other studios that I'm seeing within the ClassPass network? And how do I make that decision, right? And that's the other thing is like studios get really frustrated about their credit price, right? And so we say, okay, look, we have credit prices and they're meant to maximize your revenue, right? In the same way, like I've been an Airbnb host before, right? I listed property on Airbnb. You could either choose your own rate on Airbnb and I would get way less reservations, or I could opt in to Airbnb's smart tool, basically, algorithm that says we'll price it for you based on the demand. And guess what? I got a lot more bookings that way because I let Airbnb do it because they have all the data of when people are booking and when people are reserving. And ClassPass works the same way. Now, if you're a member and you're like, okay, I see Pilates Studio A offering a class at 5 o'clock for 12 credits, Pilates Studio B offering a class at 5:30 for 11 credits, maybe I really want to go to Pilates Studio A, even though it's 1 credit more, and maybe I'm not that price sensitive, so I'll do it. Or maybe I am price sensitive and I just want the cheapest option, so I'm gonna pick the second one.
Right.
And so when studios are like, I want a higher credit price, like, okay, but what will happen is some people, your bookings are going to go down because some people are just like, I just want to choose the lower rate at this time, whatever's available. And so we do trials all the time, right? If a studio comes to us and they're like, so this is something that your users, your viewers and your listeners should know. The studio comes to us and they say, I really, really want to test a higher rate on ClassPass. We are always willing to do that. We'll say, okay, let's test a higher rate for 90 days. Let's increase your credit price and let's see what happens. If your revenue goes down, then let's have a conversation. If it goes up, great. You can command a higher rate. And so that we do that all the time. We have tons of tests going on in Sydney right now with studios that we're like, sure, let's test it out. Let's see what happens. Let's look at the data at the end of it.
Is that okay though?
Some studios don't mind.
If the whole point is it's not meant to be your core revenue generating activity, and if I'm a high perceived value brand or studio that I want to attract a different type of market, I might want to make sure that I'm a bit on the more premium side, even within ClassPass on the credit side of things, so that even my members know that they're kind of still getting a better deal by just walking straight in with us.
Yeah. If a studio is like, look, I don't care.
Yeah. It's like, if I get it, I can get it. But I feel better about it if I know that it's even more premium in terms of the credit on ClassPass.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, the ClassPass value proposition is to revenue maximize, right? That is the ClassPass value proposition.
For the studio?
Yes. Like, hey, we want to maximize your revenue. And the way that we maximize revenue is finding the best price that people are willing to pay, right? Now, some studios are like, I don't really care about maximizing my revenue.
It feels like it's more incremental revenue rather than maximizing it. If they wanted to maximize the revenue, they should be just running shit hot deals in the market in our way, not, we hate free trials. But like actually developing, like what I'm hearing is, like if studios actually develop their own signature acquisition system into their studio that built their own strength in, to your point, like lead generation, if they actually figured out how to do lead generation, then actually there's a world where ClassPass is like bolt on top of that for the bits that are harder to fill. Because even if we have studios in our academy that are like, they're redlining towards the top. They're like all the morning blocks are full. The lunchtime is, we could probably fit a few more in the lunchtime. The first two in the evening are full. There's a 6:45 that, is generally the ones who are late from work. It's the 6:45.
We'll grab that, yeah.
So like, is that one that they can just go, okay, we'll chuck the 6:45 on and a bit of the lunchtime? Can they do that?
Look, the way that ClassPass works is, and the way that the best studios use ClassPass is we fully integrate with your booking system.
Oh, right. So it's a free for all. Like as in, if I'm a ClassPass user, I can jump into I can try to still jump in on the 6 a.m. even though that's already waitlisted from the members.
No.
Okay, cool.
If it's full, you can't get in. So the integration reads your direct fill.
Yeah.
If that class has historically been filling over the past few weeks, it's not even going to open a spot on ClassPass.
Right.
And so ClassPass is meant to protect your direct business. We are not trying to take spots that a studio could have sold directly.
Do you think people agree with that?
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
Because that's literally the entire business model. We would not survive as a business if we were taking studios' entire book of business and offering it at a discount. We wouldn't survive because studios wouldn't survive. Our goal is not to take as much revenue or as many spots as we can. It's truly to protect studios' direct fill. That's why we have these algorithms, right? That can read the historical fill. Say, look, this class, this 6 a.m. class has been 95% at capacity over the past 2 to 3 weeks. ClassPass can't have a spot. It's not the point. It's really, truly for excess inventory. And so if this is one of the main things that I really want to get across. We will not survive if studios don't survive. We are in business to help studios succeed, right? And that's where I think this friction comes from sometimes. The studios are like, ClassPass wants to kill small businesses.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
I literally everything he's saying, why are you trying to devalue the industry?
Yeah, it's absolutely not. Right? And this is why I ask, well, what would these studios be doing if ClassPass didn't exist? Because it's probable that they would have excess spots. and those would be not sold, right? They would be $0. ClassPass is not preventing studios from building their direct business, right? We're like, go build it. There's, again, plenty of people out there. There's plenty of people out there who are sitting on their couch who've never tried fitness before, who've never walked into a studio. The other thing that ClassPass really aims to do is get those people who've never tried boutique fitness, make it feel accessible and make it feel less intimidating. It gives people the option to say, like, let me look at this entire ClassPass network. What are all the studios around me? Which one do I feel comfortable giving it a go? I've never been to a reformer class before. Never been to a boxing class before. Which one feels like I could just walk in and like, I'm not going to feel weird. I'm not going to feel uncomfortable. And we're really trying to reduce the barrier to entry to studio fitness and now to wellness, right? There's a lot of like cold plunge. A lot of people never done it. How can we reduce the barrier to entry for contrast therapy? So there's all kinds of things that people have tried for the first time, and we hear it from our users, right? We hear like ClassPass has changed my life because I was too intimidated to ever go to XYZ studio.
Right.
But this made it feel less intimidating. I tried it. I tried a few different places. I found my favorite spot. And yeah, I think that's really the main message is like, we're not here. We can't save a business that isn't already doing well on their own with their direct. We're definitely not trying to take any direct spots, right? The best studios, again, are going to crush it with their strong business direct. Again, that's what Mindbody's for. That's what the booking softwares are supposed to do, right? They give you marketing tools, not just Mindbody. Any booking software is supposed to help you acquire new direct users. And then ClassPass is just, like you said, a bolt-on where it's like, here's my direct business. This is this thing on the side that operates. I kind of set it and forget it. It looks at my direct fill. It surges my rates. And again, we want to hear this feedback from studios. We have account managers. They work with studios all over Australia. We listen to their feedback. We try to work with them. If they're not happy with their rates, we're like, all right, let's trial something. Usually what happens, going back to that trial, we trial a higher rate for 90 days. And the studio usually says at the end, okay, put my rate back down.
Right.
Like they want the revenue. They need the revenue. Even
though it should be incremental revenue.
It is incremental revenue because they're not paying to be listed on ClassPass. You know, one other thing on this is that a direct user might be paying $40 while the ClassPass user is paying $28, let's say, for a class.
Yeah. Hang on. Sorry. Say that again.
So let's just say like a direct user comes to class and they paid $40 for that class.
Yeah.
And a ClassPass user gets in for $28.
Yeah.
Last minute. You know, there's a spot. They get in last minute for $28. Sometimes what the studios aren't doing is calculating what was the opportunity cost, right? Or how much did I actually pay to acquire the person who came in at $40, right? There's some marketing component usually, right, attached to that.
Yeah.
And you have to do that math too. Like ClassPass costs $0 to acquire that customer and they came in at a discount, but the one who came in at $40 did cost you something.
There was some kind of CAC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
that makes sense.
You know, and most studios that we work with, our top studios are like, yeah, my average direct user spend is actually this amount. Like on the website, it says $40, but really once we take out marketing CAC, it's maybe more like 30 or whatever it is. And so sometimes they end up being pretty much the same at the end of the day.
Do you guys offer free spots?
We do.
Why?
And this is another big topic, which I'm sure you heard.
You know what we think. Go for it.
I know you hate free.
Fuck free trials is what we know. Why, Kinsey, are you offering free spots in these classes?
So first and foremost, it goes back to what I just mentioned about how do we get people into fitness in the first place?
Yeah.
How do we get people, you know, trying something new, joining the wellness trend? You know, it's obviously becoming more and more important in the world more than ever. You know, there's like OSFIT I saw was just in Canberra this week, really trying to campaign to get government support for fitness studios because it just has never been there. Like It has not been a thing that people have valued in the way that it should be. And now it is. And we're investing millions of dollars of marketing to get people off their couch and into studio fitness and into gyms and into wellness centers. And the only way we can do that is if we partner with studios. Most people who join ClassPass get a 2-week free trial. They get, X number of credits in that 2 weeks, and they can spend those credits at classes. And so what typically happens is in that 2-week period, they can't go to the same studio multiple times during that 2-week period for free. So let's say they go to one studio, they get a free class at that studio only during their trial.
But you negotiated that with that studio?
Yes, that's part of our terms now.
It's part of the terms that if I'm a studio and I jump on, it's part of the terms that when you're running one of your free trial promotions, you're able to use my studio as part of that?
Yes.
So just for the audience, there was a question from Soph, from the cheap seats. We're getting a lot of our clients saying, people are creating duplicate accounts with different email addresses, different whatevers, just so they can access more of these free perks.
Yes.
But what I'm hearing is it's part of the terms. Like what can the studio do about that?
That's a big problem that we are combating.
You know about that?
Intensely. Yes. Oh, we have a whole team, a full fraud team.
Fraud team.
That's dedicated to making sure that doesn't happen. We have lots of vendors that we work with that prevent trial fraud.
Trial fraud, that's a fucking thing.
You would be surprised.
Does your fraud team, do they wear like trench coats? Sunglasses, and
they look like the men. They look like the men
and walk around with a pipe. Come.
Yeah, I mean, we have engineering squads dedicated to this. Like it's a problem with any service who offers free trials. Netflix offers free trials. Apple Music offers free trials. Most subscription meal delivery boxes offer a free trial. I was talking to Chloe, like she used to work in makeup. You walk into a beauty store, look at all the free samples out there to get people to try something and purchase it, right? Now, you hate free trials, but for us, we actually see that for the studios, if they can offer a free class and somebody enjoys that experience, they're going to come back and spend a lot of money with them.
Buy a ClassPass. And sometimes, what sometimes happens, which again, not a lead gen tool, but 4%. This does happen sometimes, is that someone might do their free trial on ClassPass, explore a bunch of studios, and then not even convert to a ClassPass member. They might just go buy direct. They might hop out of the free trial and go buy direct. So we see a lot of that happening. We don't even call that, we don't take credit for that, right? We're not like, that's a ClassPass user converting, because they never actually ended up becoming a ClassPass subscriber. They just tried your studio via ClassPass and then went direct. So studios will see that happen too. I think what's happening there is I'm not going to use the word conflict, but I think there's the acquisition strategy for ClassPass as a tech platform versus the acquisition strategy for a bricks and mortar boutique studio that are actually, what they should be thinking about is, how do I get people into this place that will be here and pay full price and be here 12 months from now? And like actually build my community, lifetime value. Like that's how I'm going to be able to sleep better at night, knowing that I've got my core base and I know how to grow that base. Like, yes, we can use ClassPass as a tool to fill those spots and to make incremental revenue. But the stronger I get, I've actually figured out my own way, because to your point, it shouldn't be used as a lead gen tool. That's what you're saying, right? Well, if people know how to do that and build $1 million studio because they've installed a lead gen tool, that's profitable and brings in the highest quality members from the market, or highest quality prospects from the market, get them to raise their hands, sell them on something that is actually profitable from the start, so they get, they liquidate their CAC at point of sale, and then everything from there is pure growth.
And that's awesome.
That's what they should do, right?
Absolutely.
Until then, or as well as that, incrementally, if there's some dead spots in the timetable, that, to be honest, like I'm the studio owner. In fact, ClassPass, your first photos and videos were shot at my studio way back in fucking 100 years ago. We used ClassPass at the start. That's back when Body Pass, ClassPass, there was all the other passes as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got banned from the network that we were part of. Because, and we were one of those studios where we didn't need it. So it actually didn't bother us that much. But there are other studios that tried to skip the whole part of like how to run a successful business and just try to grow their business via these little packs, the class passes. I mean,
we've had studios literally come to us and say, I don't want to do any direct marketing. I just want to use ClassPass.
They're fucked.
And we're like, don't do that.
Yeah, shut your business down.
Yeah. And like, so they'll come to us sometimes even before they open. And I'm just like, that's not the point.
No.
It's really not. And you cannot, again, ClassPass can't save a business, right? That's not strong. No one can. It has to have strong direct utilization. So yes, I understand that like not every studio is gonna like first class free, but the data shows that it actually does benefit them long term, and it does, on ClassPass anyway, really help the ClassPass user lifetime value at that specific studio.
I've got a message here it's a long email from one of our clients who uses ClassPass. Are you ready?
Ready.
It's actually a good one for you.
I was like, is it going to make me cry?
No, there's no crying here. That's my job. At our studio, we've been able to generate $8,000 to $10,000 a month using carefully controlled inventory just for ClassPass with no free trials and minimal peak time access. We're consistently converting 10 to 20% of those ClassPass users into full studio members each month. So it's delivering value both short and long term. She's based in the city. So she's found ClassPass especially effective as many corporate companies offer it to their staff as employee wellness packages. Yeah. That adds a high quality user base who often book last minute, and we're regularly seeing $30 per visit for last minute bookings on unfilled spots, which is a great example of your dynamic yield working in her favor. What still needs clarity though, let me ask you this, is studio education around rates and the control. Mm-hmm. So one of the biggest gaps is education. Many studios don't realize that they can actually influence their rates through inventory control, scheduling strategy, and class restrictions. Without this understanding, it can feel like ClassPass is setting all the terms when in reality there's a lot of room for studios to tailor to their benefit. What do you think about that?
Look, the way we have optimized terms, right? Our standard terms of service and agreement is that studios work with ClassPass. They use the smart tools, right? And the smart tools are two tools: Smart Rate, which dynamically surges your rate based on demand, and Smart Spot, which is meant to protect your direct fill and only list spots that historically go unsold. Those two tools work together to make sure that each spot is priced at the spot that at the price that we think we can sell them, right? And we want to sell them for the highest price because we know that studios want high prices, but we also know if we just put them at the top of the rate card, they're not going to get the revenue, right? Because there's other studios that they're competing against. Now, yes, do some studios who are on sort of like legacy terms with us, worked with us for 10 years, they have they've worked with their account manager. We've sort of said like, look, if you can command a higher rate, then let's negotiate a higher rate. But the optimized terms on ClassPass are 40 to 90% of your 10-pack, right? So that's the negotiated rate. It's a range, 40 to 90% of your casual visit. And fully integrate with your booking platform so that ClassPass can read your direct fill. Now, studios who want to turn those tools off, the challenge with that is that they spend hours every week manually tinkering. And in the past, some of them would literally hire somebody, like pay for a full head count at their studio just to tinker with ClassPass every day. And it's never going to be, it's the same example I was giving.
That sounds so fucking.
When I was trying to manage my own Airbnb, and I'm like, I'm just turning on their tool, you know? And that's really what we recommend as the best way to work with ClassPass. Now, this studio, clearly it's like 10 to 20% conversion. That's awesome. Good for them. Like commanding high rates, still getting a lot of revenue. That's great. We would even say that, like, look, if there are some studios where it doesn't make sense to work with ClassPass.
Who are those studios?
Those are the studios that are so full, right? They're getting so much business. They don't need ClassPass. Or the studios that don't have great ratings, you know? The ones who don't get great feedback from customers and they have like low star rating on ClassPass, they're not going to get very much revenue.
Right.
And so you do have to provide a great service. But yeah, like I really appreciate what this user is saying, but it's not really what most studios have the time and energy to do.
That's it.
Right? It is a lot of work to, if you can imagine every single class time, you're like, okay, how many spots? And I don't really know like how they're operating it. Like maybe they have somebody doing it. Maybe they're doing it themselves. But if an owner is trying to spend their time guessing, how many spots do I think I should release to ClassPass? It's a lot easier to just like call up your account manager and be like, hey, can we let's figure this out. Yeah, let's figure out what's going to work well for my business. And we also can provide tons of data. Like, you know, I join meetings with our account managers, with studios. Recently, one in the CBD right by our office. And I was like, let me hear all your concerns. Let us show you the data so that you understand, because I do think a lot of this is like misconceptions. And once you see the data, then we can decide what you want to do about it.
Okay.
But it's oftentimes once they see the data, the felt experience is not actually what's happening, right? Like cannibalization. Okay, here's another huge concern. Did that come up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Is that the hairiest one? Is that the spiciest one?
That's probably the one that like prospects of ClassPass are most concerned about, right? They don't want to join because they're fearful of cannibalization. And even partners of ours who have been with us for a long time are still fearful of cannibalization or feel like it's happening a lot. So we always say, I get it. You saw someone who was your direct member then come through ClassPass. Like that hurts, right?
It fucking, like that is the thing when, you know, so I got some video responses. I won't play them because they're a bit spicy, but they said,
I'm sure I've heard
those ClassPass motherfuckers took my members.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I am saying it is more rare when you look at the data than studios think. And the perception,
it hurts.
It hurts.
It
hurts bad. You know, you have someone who's like, oh, they've been coming to me for 6 months. And then next week they come in through ClassPass. And you're just like, it does not help us, right? I'm like, that's not a good situation. Like, that's not what we're trying to do. But sometimes it happens. And the truth is, though, it happens on average 2% of the time. And so we've done all of this data analysis now with our Mindbody ClassPass customers combined, which we have thousands of. We look at all the data. We can see all the users who come directly. We can see all the users who come from ClassPass. We can see how many people switch from ClassPass to direct, how many people switch from direct to ClassPass. We can see how many are spending on both at the same time, which is many, right? Some people are on ClassPass, some people are supplementing with direct. All of that combined, the data shows 100 members. Let's say a studio has 100 members. 2 of those will be cannibalized by ClassPass on average. 2 of those. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It does happen. And when it does, it sucks. 4 people who were on ClassPass end up converting to direct. So that typically offsets the 2 cannibalized members. And then in addition to that 4-2 switch, studios see an additional 29 people coming from ClassPass on top of their 100 direct. Okay, so that's like a 29% increase in users,
Not revenue.
not revenue. 2 leave, 4 you gain,
Four
29.
4 out of 100.
You know, we can never say for sure for a studio how many direct members they're going to get from ClassPass. I always say it's single digit percentages. Doesn't really matter what your genre is. I would never expect more than double digit percentages to convert from ClassPass. So the one thing I would say about Mindbody studios is that they typically tend to, right? Studios that are using a booking software tend to be a bit stronger, right? Because they have pretty strong direct utilization.
Oh,
There's a lot of studios
What
on
else do they use?
ClassPass that don't have booking softwares.
what do they use?
Nothing. You do have to consider that, again, there's like stronger businesses that can afford to pay for a booking software. There's some businesses who just, you know, maybe they're just like small. They run Pilates out of their home. They have 5 classes per week, something like that. And we have those on ClassPass, right? But again, like if we're looking at a whole, conversion is not going to be huge. For the stronger businesses, it's not nothing.
Get it?
So I do think cannibalization is a concern that studios, it's a felt experience that's really painful, but we're always happy, especially like the Mindbody customers. We can look at the data. We can look at it for 90 days. We can say, hey, look.
Okay, so if someone is concerned about their data and they're hearing this and they're saying, no, it is way more than 2%, then they should reach out to their account manager. Is that what I'm
Yeah,
hearing?
and if they're a Mindbody customer, we can literally show them
Right.
what their cannibalization rate is.
Okay.
And so what we do, this is like the Mindbody guarantee. So when Mindbody and ClassPass came together as one company, we said, look, we have done the data analysis. We can guarantee that a Mindbody customer who joins ClassPass will see an increase in overall revenue. And if you don't, we will pay you 2x your revenue loss by joining ClassPass. And that is how confident we are that the cannibalization that studios think is going to happen is just very rare. And it's typically offset by, you know, the 4 people who end up joining direct. And in some cases, that 4 people might be more for a stronger studio. But for all of our studios combined, it's a low percent.
Is that a week or a month or what time period?
That's like in a given month, if you have 100 average clients in a given month, here's what you'll typically see.
Yeah.
The Mindbody guarantee analysis, we look at over 90 days because we want to see, like, if someone's coming to you in month 1, what are they doing
In month 3.
in month 3?
Yeah.
And have they swapped? And actually some of the ones who, again, are perceived to be cannibalized by ClassPass, we actually might consider as a win back, right? Because sometimes they leave the studio for 6 months and the studio was like, I don't know where that person went. They might come back through ClassPass 6 months later. So is that a cannibalized user, or is that the studio, they lost the user and then that person came back 6 months later on ClassPass? Like, I don't know. It's
As a studio owner, that would still...
I still classify as cannibalized.
Do you know what? It still stings. Like, you know, when you get a cancellation email, like totally. My owners, like they just give their heart out to these guys, right? They've changed their lives. Mm-hmm. You know, the mental health side of things, like it stings every time, even still to this day. I still remember, like it stings every single time. Even though like our studios, like our owners, we get their churn down to 2% monthly.
It's amazing.
No, and these aren't people that have got less than 150 members, of which case churn is typically not an issue. Mm-hmm. It's people that have got 400 members, 300 members. Like we've got them up to 300, 400, 500 members. And 2.3% churn during winter is fucking nuts, right?
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
But that 2% still stings.
Yeah.
Is my point.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, fucking hell, we've worked so hard for that prick. Like,
yeah.
And they still leave. And then so it wouldn't even matter if in 3 months' time they walk in, hey, mate, how you been? So good. Are you coming back? No, I'm just here on ClassPass. Not your fault. Is what I'm saying. Like, I'm just saying,
you're like, I was mad at you before and I'm even more.
It's like, kind of welcome back, you dog. But also, What do you mean you're on ClassPass? Again, that's not your guys' issue. I just know how that feels as a studio owner. All right, so let's.
But look, I do think most of us know that fitness is an ebb and a flow, right? And people aren't motivated 100% of the time. to be going to classes every day.
Mm.
And so if someone drops off their fitness routine, we would love to help get them back in, right?
I understand that. I
know a
understand.
studio doesn't always see it that
Yeah,
way,
no,
but
but
like again, they're gonna do something to try to get them back in anyway. They're probably doing some life cycle marketing or,
Yeah.
whatever you're coaching them to do, hopefully to get people back in.
Yes.
And if that person doesn't come back, then like, let us help.
How do you make money?
ClassPass?
Yeah.
So we make money when studios make money. Like it's a good thing when we want to drive more revenue to studios because we make a small margin on the credits.
You make a margin on the credits
Mm-hmm.
and the platform access for the end user. So like the monthly payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they spend their credits every single month. We take a small margin on top of that. That's it.
Okay.
It's really simple. We don't benefit when users don't spend their credits, right? We want them to spend more credits. It's better for our partners to gain more revenue.
Mm.
And so we're like, here's your here's your possibility. The possibilities are endless. And now, like, okay, so you mentioned the corporate wellness, which I think we should touch on that for a second because I don't know if every customer knows about that.
That's good. Yeah.
So ClassPass has a corporate wellness benefit, and we work with lots of employers, like around here, Canva, KPMG, big employers. Those employers subsidize a ClassPass membership for their employees. Some of them subsidize 100% of the ClassPass membership. Some do a portion. So we work with smaller companies. They might do a portion. The larger companies might do 100%. And the reason that employers find it useful to subsidize a ClassPass membership is because there's something for everyone, right? And their employees, it's not like, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, really, employers might subsidize a big box gym.
Yeah.
And not everybody wants to go to a big box gym. But on ClassPass, you could go to a big box gym. You can go
get a massage.
Yoga. You can go to massage. You can go to recovery. And there's lots of options. And now we have like salads you can buy and smoothies you can buy on ClassPass.
What do you mean?
You can use your credits for food and drink and beverages. It's great.
At gyms? Like at studios or just like?
No, at restaurants. So you could book into your yoga studio and then reserve a smoothie for after next door and like go and pick up your smoothie after with your ClassPass credits. So, some of our users had like a couple extra credits at the end of the month and they're like, well,
it's not enough for a class.
Yeah,
but it
like
is for
I
a
only
salad.
have 3 credits. Like I can't afford going to a class. So what else can I spend this on? And before, we might see breakage on that. We might just like keep those credits and ClassPass might benefit from that breakage. We're like, well, why don't we just let them use it on a salad?
Right.
And